Hi everyone. So in this shorter lecture, we're also going to be taking a look at where recursion kind of isn't always the most effective solution and some other iterative solutions that work well. One scenario is the Fibonacci sequence. And in this Fibonacci sequence, essentially what we do is we start with the sequence of 1, and then we add that up to 1 as well. Then we get to 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34. So essentially, if our n is equal to 0 or n is equal to 1 that we add into this function Fibonacci, we return a 1. And you can see here, this is where we get 0 and then 1, 0, 1. So we get 1 each time. N is equal to 0 here, n is equal to 1 here. And now if we have n is greater than 1, what we do is we recursively call the function or the sequence with n minus 1. So we go back 1 plus n minus 2. So we're going back 2 steps. So how come when I say n is equal to, if our n is equal to 2, why do we get the value 2 here? Well, what we do is f of n minus 1, so f of 2 minus 1, which is 1. And what value is that? That is a 1. Plus f of n minus 2, which is a 2 minus 2, which is a 0. And what value is that? Well, that was a 1, given right here. So 1 plus 1 gives us 2. Now, what about 3? Well, 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. 5. 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. 8. 5 plus 3 is equal to 8, and so forth. So this looks like a pretty straightforward way to do it recursively. And in a file called fib, you might notice that we pretty much just translated this code over to a recursive version of it. Now let's go ahead and try to run this code here. And we'll see here that if I go ahead and I say fib of 1, I get my 1 back right away. And if I say fib of 0, okay, I get the 1 back. Let me try fib of 2. 2, so it's looking good. And I'm going to kind of keep iterating up here. 5 looks good as well. Let's try 9. And that's giving us back some values. How about if we jump up a bit and let's try 32. And you'll notice there's a bit of a hang time there, but it's not too bad. And now you'll notice if I put in a 64, my program is going to actually take a ton of time to run. And you'll see here that even for small values of n, when my n is equal to 32, there is so much duplication of effort using the recursive calls repeatedly of n minus 1 to go backwards that it's super slow, and it's not going to finish it in a reasonable amount of time. And essentially, it's going to slow down our computation where the large values are not going to be working for us. So one way that we can actually solve this issue is by using a few different ways of translating it over to an iterative solution. And one way we can do it iteratively is if we go ahead and declare this function called Fibonacci, and we set our x and y to be set to 1. So 0 and 1 is always at 1. And we have this value starting at 1, which is less than n. Then what we do here is we set our x and our y to be equal to the y value. We add up those values, and then we increment our I value as well. A bit of a different solution for this one, but why don't we try doing a Fibonacci here of 64 now, and we'll notice that I actually get the value right away using my iterative solution. And it's a lot quicker than my recursive solution because it's not doing as many repeated calls. There's also in this Fibonacci.py file a definition of fib.dp. And if you could see here, we're going to try to return some Fibonacci sequences using n-1 plus n-2, using a list variable of it. Using a dictionary variable up here. And if you could see here, we have a few if and else statements that go ahead and do the same type of processing that our previous ones did. And it also goes ahead and looks for these values in a dictionary. So essentially, it's going to try to save all these values of a dictionary in this global file as we're processing it. So let's try to go ahead and do fib of dp of 32 again. And we'll see that it looks a bit faster already. And nice, it looks like it's working pretty well for us here as well. So essentially, this is more of a solution that uses a dictionary of n-1 and so forth, rather than one of the ones that is used to the recursive solution. So again, don't worry too much about the semantics. This one, go through these on your own here to try and figure out, essentially, if you do a few print statements, you can see where the x and y is going on. But in general, what I want the point to get across here is that recursive solutions might not be the best solutions all the time. One more scenario where you might have iteration work a bit better than recursion is in some searching algorithms. Again, when you get to data structures and a few later ones, you'll see where searching using recursion can really help reduce the runtime of certain aspects of your code. But in general, whenever you're learning searching at the start, we focus on is linear search, which goes line by line through each item in a list. And this linear search here takes in two parameters, a list parameter, which is a list of items, and an item parameter, which is the item you're trying to find. If you find the item in your list, you're going to return the index of where that item is present, or you're going to return -1. So to actually do this, I'm going to go ahead and say for index in the range of length of list, and remember that lists start counting at index 0, so we always want to go 1 above it. So length of list -1, and then what I'm going to say is if the list index, so if the item in list index is equal to the item I'm searching for, I'm going to return the item is at index, and I'm going to return the string of that index where we found it. Now, what happens if I don't find it? Well, I'll simply just return -1 if I never find that item in my list. Now, to go ahead and get this started now, I'm going to go ahead and create a list from 10 down to 0. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my linear search. And what am I going to search for linearly? I'm going to search for my list and then of 5. And lo and behold here, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have it at index 0, at index 5. This one should be at index, looks like my 0 isn't popping up here in my length of my list. I might have gone too far over to the edge. This one's at index 9. And again, in general though, if your item isn't in the list, it should return a -1. Our 12 is not in the list, so it's returning it. Let's try to see if this guy is causing me an issue. This one. There we go. It was because I was subtracting 1 over there that I wasn't getting to the very end. So we can see here now that essentially we have our entire list searching for it, and we can kind of just see where we want to put each of these items here. So if I have a 7, it's at index 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so forth. So again, there's no recursion going on here, but this is another way that searching might be a bit easier to use than recursion. And later on, we'll take a look at how we can do this recursively and kind of manipulate and show the benefits and drawbacks of each approach.